Hey everyone, welcome back to Ravenstead. It's time for another build. We're going to continue the Hidden Valley. This is part 3. So I'll have 4 tiles going all the way across, and we'll see how deep we go. Maybe 4 by 4. We'll see. I'm going to use a craft knife here. I don't cut myself, so don't worry about that. I'm going to get a little bit of shape here to the rock wall. These first 4 tiles in the set are going to kind of serve as a backdrop. So I'm probably going to continue this hill all the way across. I'll get a couple different levels in the build, just whittling down different playable areas. Always keeping in mind to keep those flat areas big enough for a 1-inch miniature base. I matched it up there to the other build. I'll put in a little texture on the base using a little piece of rolled up aluminum foil. Don't want any of those factory edges showing. I use a wire brush here to add a little bit of texture to the stone. I'm going to hot glue that down and then put a few deck screws in the bottom. That'll give the piece a little bit of weight, a little extra stability. I have another couple of stones here I'm going to put in. A little boulder there. And then decided to go with a bigger boulder there in the center. Kind of add some areas of cover. Break up that big open area. That ought to work. So I'll hot glue that down. I did end up putting a screw up inside that one from the base. And that kind of balanced it out. Added some nice weight. Couldn't quite figure out how I was going to get our rotten plank in this build. Then I decided why not just build a pile of them. And that'll be a little bit of scattered terrain we can move around. So I textured up a little thin strips of foam with a wire brush and then just glued them up. It was a little tedious to paint, but not bad. There we go. And that can span both of the builds. We're going to black this out with a mixture of Mod Podge and black acrylic paint. Get a good coat on that all around. That helps to toughen it up. And it gives us a good base for our shadows. And once that's all dry, the lumber included, we'll start in with our dry brushing, get some color on this piece. So it's matching up pretty good. I'm going to use the same palette I've used for the other pieces. This is a slate gray, very dark, and then a medium gray. That really picks out the highlights. And then I'll put that on the base too, so you just start building up our layers of color. And then this is parchment, very pale beige color, and that'll be our highest value. Some medium brown and light brown here and there, a little bit of green, a little true green. Put that on the planks too, give them kind of a rotten look. There we go. Now we'll get in some washes. This is a burnt umber acrylic ink wash mixed with water, about 50-50. And I'll put that on the whole thing. That's a base coat, and it gets the whole piece wet. I like to use a wet-on-wet technique with these washes. They do run together, but that's intentional. And once they dry out, it gives you a nice muted look. That's a little Vallejo rust wash there. Straight out of the bottle. It just gives it a little bit of color and contrast. We're going to put some flocking on this piece. I'll go over it here with some PVA glue. I'm intentionally leaving a few little places uncovered. And then we'll go in with some different sizes of flocking. That's fine flocking. I get that from Woodland Scenics. It's pretty good stuff. So that's the first layer. Build up more texture with my homemade mixture of preserved moss and flower flocking. I put that in a coffee grinder and grind it up nice and fine. Tap it on, tap it off. So just a little hint here and there, little indications of texture. Some watered down PVA glue, and then some medium flocking. That's another Woodland Scenics product. So that gives us a nice variation in texture. So let's put some clump foliage in here. I've got the other piece there beside to kind of match up the look. So I'll be using clump foliage, and I'll be using preserved lichen in here, and then also some static grass that I've made. We got to give all of our little critters places to live. I'll just tuck in a few bushes here and there. This static grass I wanted to put up against the rock wall, so I trimmed off some of the backside of it. You can see the PVA glue that the static grass is stuck into, so I just added a little bit of that thin glue and a little fine flocking, and it blends it right in. Don't forget the back side of your builds, in case people are looking at it from different angles. You got to make it interesting all the way around. Well, you don't have to. Do what you want. I like this technique with the static grass. It's really helping it blend in. And just knock off the excess there. There we go. Need a little spot for our rattlesnake to hide. It's just about done. I'll spin it for you so you can get a closer look. Alright, this is the Hidden Valley, Part 3. Yeah, that's looking nice. I'm glad we went with the scatter terrain for the rotten planks. That adds a little bit more versatility to the build. Here you can see it with some miniatures. Give you an idea of the scale. All 3 pieces that we've made so far. I'm going to need a bigger tile underneath. So we're getting pretty big. You guys take a second, make sure you check out my new Kickstarter, Brock's Bones. I'll put a link in the description down below. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.